Hey, this is FRJH Racing, and I'm going to present SLRR Drag Association Complete Edition. So this is what SLRR should have always been. It's basically the 80/20 rule for all the different mods out there that are, worth anything. And we had some pretty big breakthroughs with finding the sources to Drag Association, which has been that was a huge project with Gorgoyle and a whole bunch of other modders that we don't really see a lot of them around anymore. But there's some really good work that pretty much when Gorgoyle lost their sources in their computer, and when some of the other guys kind of left the scene, it was pretty much dead media. So between that, getting the sources back, me having some of the things I was working on that I just, I had them all kind of working, but I was finally like, yeah, let's actually put some of this stuff together. Um, and then some break, just, I figured out some stuff that like made all of this really easy to work on. It was just very, of course, modding SLR is very tedious, but I'm going to show some of the tools I made that it ships with this, and you can use this to add mods. But at the moment, I have let's see, what was it? 24 engines? Yeah, 24 rescripted engines. I have like 11 or 12 cars I added, all of them rescripted. If we go to the vehicle catalog here, they all come complete. They come complete from the catalog 100%, and through the used car lot. This works perfect. I've yet to find a crash or an unworking mod. But yeah, as you can see here, everything comes in various condition as it should, and this applies to every single mod. As far as I've been able to test, Valo works pretty well. This isn't really intended to do a career run, but I really want to be able to integrate that into drag competition, like a drag and drive. The point is that let me get into the tools I made that made a lot of this possible. So first of all, like I said, I have like 11 or 12 cars here, and then all the different models. How did I make them all complete so in, a good amount of time, like about a week or two? Um, and within that week and two, I wasn't even focusing purely on cars. I was working on all the other technical stuff, right? So see these buttons right here. This button on the left, it does a couple things. You can drag stuff into it, and you can just press it. If you just press it, you'll get the little noise, and this exports everything on the car. This exports all the part numbers and references. So then let me bring up what that looks like. If you go here and we go to save, export, see how it made the name of the car and then the file name. And then there you go. Check that out. And this is all. I made this so that if you're familiar with modding Javas and stuff, this is set up to copy and paste. And so I'll even show you here's the result of that. If you look at the code here. Um, yeah, see that with the names and the everything's listed out. You can see where I did my stuff, and then this was previously done. And then here we're back to what I had with every part that I had to touch that came from my tool. You can see it here. All right, so then that's if you click on it and your car is, has parts on it. And again, it's already the copy and paste. Like, look at that stock parts list. Ready to go. Um, cool. So now let's keep an eye on the file explorer. Let's say I drop. So right now I'm about to. There we go. I can drag this engine assembly onto it. All right. So now you can click and drag parts, but even assemblies. Check that out. Now it'll do the same thing. Little bit different for an engine block, not the same formatting. But ideally, this is the reason I did this way is, as you can see this little referencing thing. This will show you the directory of where the script is, because it's called the script instance. And so that, that's going to be game parts, and it's going to be in the Ford engine pack. The other ripper that I showed for the car doesn't always get that right, just because of how references work. And again, these are external references, so you always zero these out. And then there you go. So that's everything. That's the engine. It's all recursive, so it gets everything. It doesn't miss any parts when you do that feature. And then, of course, single part. Let's say you're having a problem with you're like, I don't know what the heck this block is. And then there you go. Just single part name, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So that's the part ripper. And that should work with everything. It works with kits too. So here's another thing is, let's say, how sometimes you get these like add-on kits and you're like, what the heck does this freaking I know this Ford one, right? These supercharger kits, you're like, how do I put this freaking Pro Charger on? And you don't know where it starts. Well, what do? You take it and you drag it onto the exporter. And let's look at the Explorer again. You don't really need to, but if I open up the kit, it calls a kit ripper, and then there you go. Look at that. It only has two parts in it. It has the bracket and the supercharger. So in theory, I know from I've been messing around with this for a bit, but let me take off this. So it won't go on now, right? It's mad. I do know if you take off all these accessories, that needs to go. I think that needs to go, and then that needs to go. It should go on now. Might need a pulley. No, maybe that needs to go. Maybe it's the wrong block. It might have to go in the 351, but I do know for that supercharger kit, if the brackets are in the way, it won't install. But then now you know. Now you know it's yeah. Now you know that's the problem with that. All right. So what do I show next? Oh, my compatibility check, right? So now when you have this many engines, that's very daunting to use a catalog. So this is probably the most advanced catalog in the game. So you can organize blocks by cylinder count, and if they're V or not, because there's a script for V's and inline. And now this is the real magic. If you hit this little wrench up here, it'll only show you what's compatible with your parts bin. So remember all the Ford stuff? And then now compare that to how many pages? A lot of pages. So no more freaking scrolling. Look at that. And this applies for all parts. The only thing that gets a little wonky is if you have engine kits, right? So it's not going to check and scan through like an engine assembly, right? If it's a part that, like, if it's ready to install onto the car, it will compatibility check. But like if you only have these engine kits, these engine assemblies in your parts bin, it can't check against it as an assembly, because then it would have to do a recursive check per every assembly, and it'd be way too much. You'd be waiting a lot. So yeah, if you just want to build up an engine and you're just like, let me sell everything, right? You're like, what do I want? Well, what's compatible with my car? It didn't look like it changed much, but there's a whole bunch of inline fours that see these Honda engines and stuff. The Honda stuff that goes away, so now you don't buy anything that you don't need. Let's build up the Viper engine. When you purchase something, it doesn't refresh, so that does get a little annoying unless you know what you're doing. Yeah, that can. But if you put it on your car, once it's on your car, then it's ready to use the filter. So it can be iffy sometimes, but usually it works pretty consistently once you get the feel of how it works. Alright, so then that's the, that's all that. Now with the, what do I need to show? Oh, let me buy this Buick. Show you some of the drift or the drag association stuff. So the platform that I added everything to is the drag association build, which is supposed to be very accurate to IRL drag racing. So there's this dedicated drag strip, and I'm going to show the controls before I actually go to the drag strip. So let's just load in everything. Oh, we got some rendering issues. It's a freaking game. I'm sure someone knows. Again, if it's modeling or rendering related, I do not care. Someone else can fix that. But from all the scripting point of view, I got it. Alright, so drag association comes with two-step and trans brake. So before, if you hit gas and brake at the same time, it was a shared access, so it would go to 0. Now you can see my brake lights are on, and I hit gas. And if, depending on your transmission and your power level, you can hit the brake. So, this is a good example. If I just hit my brake and the gas at the same time, it overpowers the brakes, because I didn't really put... There's more powerful brakes in the catalog, but now you can bump with the e-brake. So check that out, right? Let's say you're trying to stage, and then you let off, and then boom, you're ready to go. So that's one. Some people might not like that, but if you got like a turbo setup, you'd be able to get that going pretty good. Now, if you can modify the two-step RPM in, like, you know how if you use the edit tool, you can change like the Redline. You can also change the two-step, and the two-step is engaged with A, so hopefully you can kind of see it. Yeah, there you go. So if I, and it's like it's just like the button, right, in IRL. So then you can do, let's put it in second, clutch in, two-step on. So then that's without two-step, and that's with two-step. So now I'm not right on the chip, and then I can just let them both off. There you go. And then boom, you're on your way. Cool. So now we know trans brake and the two-step. So if your car is like less power, the trans brake isn't that fun. But like if you have like a really torquey, like the LS setup I have on there. Oh gosh, I'm so tired. Quarter mile. So I was using the trans brake there. Oh, I didn't. I was. I had my finger over the clutch instead of the shift. So there you go. This is how you put down a really bad time. But yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much everything. Again, the dealer should work pretty well. Let's go to the dealer. I isolated every single mod and I let this run multiple days, and again I touched every single car here, and so they will come complete and they will come broken. So there you go. That's gonna maybe come into play for future competitions, but yeah. I think the last thing is for drag association, there's the ability to add rule sets. So like in stage 2, which is what this was the last set of sources we had. If you go to here, see how the like you couldn't, because remember this was like people were allowed to add an engine. Well, now this could look and be like, uh-oh, you brought a turbonetics or this crappy Ford cylinder, like this specific mod, probably some like Ford 300, and like that mod itself was like not that good, so then they could just ban it. And then if you look here, you know, power to weight ratios, boost limits, all-wheel drive, you know, not allowed. So then there you go. And then like the different all-wheel drive, like you could be a different weight and more power to weight ratio or less. So yeah, this is all running again. I have the sources. And as you can see, I have a pretty solid understanding of the under hood stuff. So I'm hoping to expand on this and you know, provide even more updates. So yep, have a good one.